favorite scary movie. Welcome back.
Welcome back. That was good, actually. That was spooky.
I was trying to do the voice, but I'm too gay for that. Welcome back to Silent Screaming Resurrected, our podcast where we talk about horror movies and drink alcohol and
LOL.
And laugh so much. We are just so funny. And
I think
you might not
hilarious.
be listening, but we think we're funny, and we're.
I like how at the beginning of every episode we convince ourselves and our listeners that we're actually funny.
I think that's one of the key qualities of being a comedian is like constantly telling the audience that you're funny.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah. That's probably not.
Well, it's hard. It's hard because we don't have a live audience, and so it's hard to read. Like, are the jokes landing or not? You know what I mean? But we're gonna assume they all land.
It's true. What are you drinking today? I'm just drinking some Topo Chico Hard
Ooh.
Basic.
I like that. What? I'm gonna give you one guess as to what I'm drinking.
You're drinking Deep Eddy and seltzer. So like Deep Eddy lime.
Wow! It's like you know me.
Red. No, I can't tell what color it is.
It is it's just the original Deep Eddy vodka with some lemon lime Waterloo and then a splash of lime and lemon juice. But I'm also drinking it in a whiskey glass, so I'm having a little bit of an identity crisis today. But regardless,
I haven't finished
it's delish.
This bottle yet.
Ooh, my bottle's still sticky from the last time.
Ew, clean your bottles.
I have to hide them from Mason. So I leave them in here when I record. Okay.
In his office?
Well, he doesn't use this office anymore because the Wi-Fi sucks.
Cheers.
So, cheers. Mine's like a little baby shot. Crack a bottle, let your body waddle.
I was going to say, yeah, like when I was at home at my parents', of course I had like a nice cocktail. And then I get back to Austin, I'm like, canned seltzer.
Times are tough. Times are tough, y'all.
Wow.
So what's up with you? What's going on? What's the hot goss?
The hot goss is, one, I'm getting over a cold, so that's why I sound like a little bit of a smoker. I'm not a smoker, just for those of you men out there who that's a turn off. No, it's not true.
Unless it's a turn on.
If it's a turn on, I can be... No, I'm not going to be a smoker for you. I'm sorry. I will not do that for you. The Oscars happened a couple of days ago, finally.
I'm so excited for you. I feel like... Sorry, I totally just cut you off. I was just really excited for you. Keep going.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, like, I put a lot of, like, energy and anticipation into Oscar season, which is so silly, because every year, like, this was the first year where I was not, like, really disappointed. Excuse me. Fully disappointed. Like, I was pretty happy. Like, I was unexpectedly happy because I expected them not to give awards to people who I thought should get them, and pretty much across the board, at least in the acting categories, it went to people who I thought. Like, Everything Everywhere All at Once really got its flowers. Like, they got Best Picture, Best Director, Best Lead Actress. They only didn't get Best Actor because there wasn't a leading actor in that movie.
True.
And Best Supporting Actor and Actress. The only one out of those that I don't really fully agree with is Jamie Lee Curtis getting Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah. Has she never received an Oscar before?
No.
That was her first Oscar?
That's why it's complicated, is because I think Jamie Lee Curtis is a good actress and, like, definitely deserves her Oscar. Though I don't know necessarily if this movie and her performance in it was, like, award caliber. Like, it was just a very small side part that was kind of silly.
It was silly. But I mean, I agree with you. Like, I do think that her role wasn't as complex of a character as, and I totally forgot the character's name that plays the daughter.
Joy. Joy,
yes.
Stephanie Shu in real life.
But I'm so excited for her because I feel like she's...
I think that
we love talking over each other. I'm excited for her though because
I know. Have, like, this weird delay.
I know. But yeah, I am excited for her because like I feel like she's still very fresh in her career, and I think like, she's going to be, hopefully she's going to get her moment sometime soon. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with your feelings on that.
Yeah, and I think she still has plenty of time too. Like she's gonna, like you said, she's gonna have her moment eventually. I'm more upset because my two picks for that award were either her or Angela Bassett, who for Black
Yeah.
Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
I feel like Angela Bassett is, not to like throw shade at Jamie Lee Curtis, but she's kind of been doing more legitimate acting roles for longer. Jamie Lee Curtis, like, great actress, but a lot of her roles are like, Freaky Friday or like Halloween, and like they're not that they're not well acted, but like Angela Bassett has been at that like Oscar level for so long and has been
Yeah.
overshadowed for so long and overlooked,
Mhm.
that I feel like it was time for her to really get an award, and I think her performance was really that good.
Yeah.
So that's why I just felt like if the whole reason for giving Jamie Lee Curtis was because it was her time, then it was just as much Angela Bassett's time. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true.
That's the only one I felt weird
Yeah.
about. That, and I don't love The Whale. I love Brendan Fraser. I'm glad he got awarded because I think his performance was really great. But I don't really love that movie as a concept. I kind of feel like it was really degrading to like fat people in general, and like very much, I don't know, just kind of was a setback for the way that the world looks at like bodies and like body positivity. It felt like very
like a step back, 2 steps back.
Yeah,
almost.
it just felt like ogling at a fat person for the sake of doing it, not for any reason.
Well, and I think the fact that, and you put this on your social media, like the fact that it won, was it best makeup or special effects, or what was the award that won? Over all of the other movies. Yeah, and I can definitely understand why that would be frustrating, because you're up against so many films where like the makeup and the makeup artists and their job that they did in the film is, I don't know, I guess it kind of is subjective, but yeah.
Anyways, the Oscars are over. I'm happy with most of the result, and I'm happy to get back to spending more time watching horror and podcasting. Yep. It's like, thank God I can stop watching all the like high caliber artsy movies. Back to horror. Oh
God. Yeah, I don't have the patience for that.
I mean, I liked some of them a lot, but did I like all of them?
What were your thoughts on All Quiet on the Western Front?
I loved that movie.
You did? Okay. Did you? I haven't seen it. I know it also got nominated for, I think it was like the second most nominated movie.
It won a lot. It won a lot of awards too, and I think it was deserved. It was one of the best war movies I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand that award particularly. No offense to the production designer, but like the sets, they were pretty much like a battlefield, and like the sets for Babylon, which like granted was not a good movie per se in my opinion, the sets were way more intricate and like complicated and beautiful in like things like Babylon and even Black Panther and stuff like that. I was like, it's very odd to me that All Quiet on the Western Front would win when it was just kind of like the trenches.
But they had to create the trenches.
It's true. They did.
Whereas like Babylon, it feels like you gotta dig some holes, you gotta put some barbed wire and all that, and all of that. But I think, I haven't seen Babylon, but I would assume a lot of it's probably recorded in some kind of studio, and a lot of it's probably filled in with green screen and then put in digitally. I don't know.
Actually, I think in that movie they didn't. It was like a lot of like practical sets and effects, but it was just really pretty. Like that was the one saving grace that movie had. The like freaking like script made me want to throw myself off a bridge, but the
I didn't have no
aesthetics were really pretty. Yeah, and it's 3.5 hours of your life that you'll never get back. So, but if you want to watch a 3.5 hour movie, instead you should watch RRR.
I know, that's on my list. I like went back and watched their like live performance at the Oscars like 3 times. I was like, this is so good. I want to watch it over.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The performance in the movie is obviously even better. It's like so good. And oh, it's such a good movie. I love that movie. I'm so mad it didn't get more award recognition, but I also like think that Hollywood is like baby stepping towards movies like that. Like it hasn't quite recognized how amazing those could be.
Yeah.
I feel like Everything Everywhere was a really good indication of like Hollywood starting to embrace like the more like silly, ridiculous type of films because they have like good stories and good writing and good messages.
Yeah.
And then like movies like RRR, other movies, and then you know like Tollywood and Bollywood, which are silly inherently, will get that kind of recognition eventually.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Baby steps.
But yeah, I loved it. I did watch one horror movie last night that has been on my list for a long time, and I don't really know how to feel. I think I need to watch it again because I was like in a headspace where I was sick first off, and I was on like a ton of cough syrup and like allergy medication, and I am so glad that like I wasn't actually on drugs because like I think I would have been so horrified. It's
What movie was it?
It's a stop animation movie. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before called Mad God.
Oh yeah.
It's on Shudder. I don't really know. So, firstly, I think like the stop motion of it was incredible. Like it was wild. I forgot I was watching stop motion so much. What actually happens in it though, I had to read like a description because I was like, I'm lost.
Yeah,
this is just real fucked up. Basically, the basic premise is like it's like about post-apocalyptic worlds, not even Earth, I guess. Earth is maybe part of it, but like there's a whole tower of worlds and like different worlds, and like you can like these people travel down it through this little elevator or this little ship thing, and they're trying to destroy the different worlds because like post-apocalypse everyone is just like bad, like everyone's just killing each other and there's like monsters everywhere and they're really gory and gross, and the only like relief is just blowing up all the planets. So the whole movie is like watching these people try to destroy the planets, but like it took me reading a synopsis to figure that out. I was like, it was just artsy. Very wild. It was very weird, very gory, like very gory. Yeah, it was like gross, but there was also a lot of like poop and stuff in it too. It was just like over the top. I truly sat down at the end of that movie and was like, had I seen that on drugs, it might have killed me. Like honestly,
really,
because it was just God. It was just so much. Okay. It was just so much
poop.
But
this reminds me. This is totally off topic, but we were playing volleyball on Sunday, and this girl that's been coming out and playing with us, she was wearing a white tank top, and it was kind of see through, but like her sports bra it was like a Peloton sports bra, but for some reason, like all you could read was the P and like the second O, and then the first O and then the second O, so it just looked like it said poo. And I don't know who it was. It was either Mason or Kristen, but she was like, "Does your bra say poo?" Anyway, you can take that out. I just thought that was hilarious. I was dying.
You're a child. I love it. Y'all are children. I mean, I would have laughed at that too, to be fair.
Poo?
Poo? Oh my God. Have you watched anything else? You said you've been watching a lot of like...
I'm just like very invested into like the same 3 shows. Of course, don't tell me what happens, but after we record, I'm going to go watch the season finale of The Last of Us. So I'm excited.
I haven't watched it either.
Oh, okay, perfect. So yeah, I'm really excited to like conclude that. And then Shrinking, I got caught up on that. So I think another one is out. I'm still working on Your Honor as well. We haven't watched that in a little bit. Season 2 is out, and that's on HBO Max. And then I just feel like The Bachelor, we're getting close to the end of The Bachelor. I feel like all of the shows that I've been working on the last like month or so, they're getting to like the season finales. And so I've just been trying to catch up on that. But honestly, I haven't watched any scary movies. I feel like I was watching so many, like every single week, almost every day. And my brain was like, I need something mindless for a little bit. And then, of course, all of the drama with the Vanderpump Rules and the scandals. And so now I'm jumping on that bandwagon. I'm not claiming I'm a fan of Vanderpump, but I want to at least comprehend what everyone's talking about. So I'm going back and watching some of those just when I want to put something like mindless on in the background. So that's kind of embarrassing for me. But
I've heard that there's something going on because Paige talks about it, but I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, I know a lot more than I did a week ago. We'll just say that it's pretty scandalous, but like there'll be something else in a week that's like tops it, and then people will move on and forget. But really, I've just been kind of living in the Discovery Plus app because they have the investigation Discovery. So I've been watching this one show called Body Cam, and I know it sounds really cheesy, but it's basically each episode is like a couple of different like cases from real life, either dash cam video or body cam video from like police officers or SWAT teams when they like pull people over, and it like, or it, you know, it starts out as like a routine pullover or wellness check, and then it turns into like this big shootout. And sometimes the people involved actually die, and you like see it happen. So it's pretty intense.
Oh my God, that sounds awful.
Yeah. I mean, like horror to me. They blur it out, but I mean, it's crazy. I think just kind of having a show like that, it's not just like people reenacting it. It's like actually in, you know, the video of what takes place. But that's really all I've been watching. Nothing crazy. Actually, I'm sorry to disappoint.
I was gonna say, that sounds crazy. That sounds like a horror in and of itself, like a real life horror.
Oh, I did also watch Amazing Interiors, which is on Netflix, and I know again this I like put random stuff on when I'm just trying to like doze off. But this show is actually really cool. It's goes into people's homes all over the world. And why I started watching this because there was one guy that is from Austin, or he had just moved to Austin, and he owns a car restoration business. And so he built a tiny home inside of his garage, which I'm like, a box inside of another box inside of another box.
I've seen that, I think.
Yeah, it's like a big, tall, like warehouse, but then he like it's basically like a storage container, and he kind of like put it on like the second story inside the garage. It was actually pretty cool. But then I started watching, you know, more homes, and like there's this other guy. He's in like the UK or Ireland or something, somewhere in Europe. And each room in his house is from like a different decade, or not even decade, but like century almost. So like you walk in, it's like ancient China and like all these like artifacts from like ancient China. And you go in the next room and it's like artifacts from like the 20s, and then like each room is like a different theme, and he's like collecting these artifacts from these different eras. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Anyway, not horror related, but those are fun.
I love the centuries of ancient China and the 20s.
And then you go into the kitchen and it's like Mexico. It's like Mexican themed, and then they have like
none of these are centuries, Jordan.
Well, the 1900s. I said decades first. I said decades and then centuries.
Yes, ancient China, the decade of ancient China.
The decades.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I don't know what decade ancient China was in.
Our delay is so intensely slow right now. Like, I say something
probably
and then like
Mason's
I wait like
gaming.
Probably. I have a Wi-Fi extender I'll let you have because it doesn't do anything for me, but maybe it'll help you. Well, do you have anything else?
No, not for me.
No.
No.
I'm gonna. I know that you have like. Have you done any South by stuff? Because I know you got that badge.
Not really. I'm doing some stuff tomorrow, but not extensively yet. I just went and picked up my keychain.
Nice. Yeah, the only thing I've even been remotely interested in was maybe trying to go see whatchamacallit tomorrow night, but Evil Dead. But I feel like that's, who knows. It's also starting at like 9:30 p.m. and I'm like, that's sleepy times.
So late. Yeah.
That's sleepy times. But yeah, well we'll be right back. We're after these maybe messages, maybe not. Who knows?
We
These
haven't
days
had
we
any
haven't been
sponsors in a
doing it
while.
as. I know our sponsors haven't been rolling in. But if you'd like to sponsor us, let us know. We'll always put you in
Yes.
our show, unless you sell something like really awful, like I don't know, granny panties or something. I don't know. Is that awful?
We would still put it in. That's
We'd
funny.
still put it in.
Welcome back. It's Ghostface and Jordan.
What if his voice had been like, "Hey, what's your favorite scary movie?"
Hey girl, what's your scary movie?
Hey girl, I think that the Ghostface should be a homosexual in the next one, like a verified.
Yeah, that would be funny, actually.
Welcome back to. How do I get this off? Hold on. This is more complicated than I thought it was
Wardrobe
gonna be.
malfunction. Welcome back to.
For those of you only listening
Something-
on an audio medium, sorry, I just completely interrupted you. If you're only listening on an audio
I'm
medium,
used to
that
it.
was me taking off the Ghostface mask. Hey, I'm not interrupting you on purpose. It's only because of the delay. I promise I'm not a meninist or something. I'm not like
I hate
women should
meninists.
only be seen and not heard, like some men think.
Mm-hmm.
I think men should only be seen and not heard. I'm just an exception.
I would love to be neither. Don't look at me. Don't listen
Don't
to
look
me.
at me. Well, welcome back to Silent Screaming Resurrected. Today we're talking about Scream 6, or as they called it on... See, how long should we go for? That's some lung support.
I could go a lot longer, but for listeners at home.
Or as they call this movie... I'm just moving on. Just not even acknowledge. Or as they called it in on SNL, Scrosixum. Scream 6. We're going to talk about the new movie that just came out.
Scream 6. What a ride.
I have to say,
Say
I
it.
know you, last time when we talked about Cocaine Bear, you gave your kind of initial thoughts up front. I'm going to do that this time.
Okay, do it. Do it.
I have a feeling that maybe we've swapped places because I was reading through like the reviews on Letterboxd and on IMDb to like see how the general feeling was, and like Rotten Tomatoes, and like everyone seemed to love this movie and can't relate. Relate.
Explain.
Now, do I think it was a fun time? Yes. Do I think it had some like really great, unique scenes for horror? Yes. The train scene, the convenience store scene, the apartment escape scene were all great in the world of horror. Do I think that this movie broke from the mold that was the Scream franchise? No. I felt like it was very much like in line with how every Scream movie goes. And I feel like efforts to like reinvigorate the franchise with like 5 and 6 are still kind of, in my opinion. Now, it seems to really be working for like Gen Zs and for like real big fans of the originals, which is really surprising to me. I was a mild fan of the Scream franchise. Like, I recognize it as like a important franchise in like the horror genre, but it wasn't like my favorite. But like, it seems to be pretty universally beloved by most people, and I just don't really know why. That's all. What about you? How did you feel? Sorry to be a cynic.
Okay, no, now that you've like put a damper on the whole podcast,
now that everyone's turned it off.
I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, because the last Scream that we saw like a year or two ago, I was like, am I glad I saw it? Sure, I can say I've seen it, but like, could I have lived my life without seeing it? Yes. But this one, for Scream 6 specifically, I had very low expectations. I think with Scream, by now, you kind of know what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of ironic deaths. You're going to get a lot of, silly characters that are young and dumb. And, it leans into it has like that sense of like nostalgic old classic horror, like 80s movie, which I like. What I really enjoyed about Scream 6 that I don't think I felt the same way about with Scream 5 is the amount of gore that we had. I think they really upped the ante with the amount of gore, and you never knew when it was going to come, and you never knew who was going to be next. And I think that this movie in particular, we didn't have a lot of character development because we didn't need it, because it was mostly the same characters from the last film. So we got to really jump right into it from the get-go, which I liked. And, I think it was like 2 minutes in, we were already like having like our second murder scene or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Love that. I think for me personally, what I like about the film is you never know who the killer is, and it could be anybody. So the whole time, it was fun for me because I'm like, oh, is it him? Is it him? And like trying to pick up on certain things that they said or did. And, just trying to like fill in the pieces was kind of fun for me as an audience member. And I think one of the main reasons that people are such big fans of this movie that are also fans of like the OG Scream is because a lot of the dialogue is carried over. And I only realized this when I was doing my investigation, when I was doing more research for the trivia portion that we'll do in part 2. A lot of like scenes are parallel. A lot of like the lines or like nods to like the original film, I think is there. And so I think as if you're a diehard Scream fan, I think that you appreciate those little nuggets. But that's why I liked it. Like really the amount of gore, and it was just like full speed ahead the whole time. There was a lot more deaths. I feel like that all was great. But I do agree with you where there was that one particular scene where that character kind of sets up like, this isn't like any other, stab movie. This is, we have to break the mold. And I'm like, cool. Like, what are you going to give us?
That's what got me
like,
so excited.
Yeah, and then they basically just did the exact same thing.
Exactly. That's something my biggest issue looking back on it was Mindy had that whole speech where she's like she did in 5. And I'm like, again, why do we need to do this again? Because we just did this in 5 where she did the whole oh, see, this is what's happening. I guess to like continue the franchise and explain the new rules, but none of the new rules ended up being true. Like the main one that she said, the one that we were supposed to like be like, was that everyone is expendable. No one's wearing plot armor. Anyone could be the killer and anyone could die at any minute. And like,
we still kept the same core 4 people that lived in the 5th one, lived in the 6th one. Spoiler alert.
All 4 of them survived, and both of the twins like should not have survived. Like Mindy, yes, like maybe died, her injuries she would probably like recover from. But here's the thing that someone pointed out that I noticed when I was reading like through reviews is why did the boy who was also the killer, the brother of the the brother sister who were killing, why did he help her on the train?
Yeah, true. Like why didn't he like make sure she died?
Or just leave her.
Right.
Like if he had just left her, then she would have probably died because no one on that train was paying attention to her except for him.
Right.
And like it just didn't make sense. It was to throw us off as an audience, but like I can't figure out what the character motivation would have been to help her.
Right.
Because then at the end he was like, I'm going to go back to the hospital and make sure they're finished off. And I'm like, yeah, but why didn't you just already
opportunity? Do it? Yeah.
You had the opportunity. And with Chad was stabbed like 15 times.
Chad should not have a lot. He had blood coming out of his face. That's how much he was stabbed.
Like, well, and not even just like the trickling, but like shooting out of his mouth.
Like, yeah, I'm like, boy, I think you would not be alive. But even the Mindy's girlfriend in one of the the first half of the movie where she gets stabbed and basically she almost gets gutted. Like he stabs her like around the lower abdomen and then he like pulls the knife up to like her upper abdomen and then she's just sitting there like, oh, like she's still talking obviously she's bleeding out,
She's
and
like,
then
it
they ask her,
hurts.
it hurts, and then she goes out on to like out of the window and tries to climb across the ladder, and I'm like, your guts would be like falling out, and she was still trying to crawl, and I was so that's a good point though. Like I do think that even though I loved the gore, I do think that realistically there were some plot holes.
Yeah, and I kind of thought when she got on the ladder that like Ghostface was gonna come up and like shake the ladder and her guts were gonna start kind of like coming out or something. But if a murderer's after you, and you have this whole speech where you're like, it could be any of us. Why do you then all decide to like hang out together? Like all
Yeah.
of you, like every single one of you are like, let's stay together. I'm like, ooh. And also, like, yes, the movie was like overall gorier, but if you think about like the kill count of like actual named characters, and I'm not just talking about like they get a name for a second and then they die.
Right.
We had Mindy's girlfriend. We had the therapist, who I don't even know if I count him in there. He's like kind of a secondary character. We have Mindy's girlfriend, and then we have the three killers, and that's it. Those are the only people who died from like
that's
the core
true.
cast. And
True, good point.
like other than that, everyone who died, like some of the most interesting deaths happened off screen. Like the death of the first killer's roommate when he opens up the fridge and he's like decapitated in the fridge. That happened off screen. The death of Quinn's boyfriend who's in the shower, that happened off screen. So like there was more bloodshed, but there wasn't like more kills, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I just felt like all of the new rules were just kind of disregarded. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was definitely entertaining, but it was definitely predictable. Because even during the movie, we were like, I think that might be him. What?
Yeah. We figured out like pretty early on. I mean, like I went to other like theories afterwards, but I remember us leaning over to each other and being like, why is he letting his daughters stay with them?
Yeah.
Like that cop, no like good dad, not even just a cop, like a dad in general would be like, yeah, just go ahead and keep staying at this
that's fine. That should be fine.
Who's being actively hunted by a serial killer. Or might be a serial killer herself. Like, in either scenario, do you let her stay there? So as soon as that happened, I was like, huh. And then he was like, my daughter. Anyways, let's get on to finding the killer.
He was like, my daughter, I lost my whole family. Show me where the lair is.
Show me the lair.
Well, another plot hole, too, that like I just thought of is when the cop, after he meets Kirby and she leaves and he like supposedly calls someone, he's like, give me everything you can on this detective. And I'm like, why would you do that if you know that she's not suspicious? You're the suspicious one.
What I thought about that too, and I think maybe the only justification for that is he was setting up, because like when he gives his big killer speech at the end, which by the way also happens in every movie where they have to explain all of their motives and give you a million years to like kill them before they kill you. He says like they're gonna like come down here and find that this like distraught former like FBI agent, because I think there was some truth to Kirby like being like, I don't know if she was let go from the FBI or something, or just like I think he was trying to sow a seed of doubt that like something was off about her, so he could pin it on her after he kills all of them. So I'm just wondering how he managed to his daughter managed to fake her death, and then they managed to find another body to replace her body, and she managed to slip out while an entire like CSI crime scene is like there, like investigating their apartment. I'm like, that part I couldn't figure out. There was a lot of like little things like that, like how did the killer get out of their apartment after he killed Mindy's girlfriend? Like, where did he go?
Yeah, I know. I thought that too, because he was like trapped in the apartment, and then the next scene he was gone. I'm like, huh? Unless
like maybe there was another window in Sam's room, but we never went in there, so I don't know. And then I read one person's theory for the movie that obviously didn't end up being true, that I'm like, I'm glad I didn't read that beforehand, because that would have like really set my expectations high. Was that they had a theory before going in, and like it kind of makes sense that Neve Campbell, the whole like thing about her deciding not to do the movie because the pay wasn't high enough, they had a theory that that was all like leaked by the studio and it was not true, and that Neve actually did accept a role, but it was her coming back as Ghostface. And basically the whole plot was going to be her being worried that the daughter of Billy is slowly turning into a killer and she needs to be stopped at all costs, no matter who it takes to take her down. And she kind of like lost her mind, like fixating on that. And he was like, a lot of things point towards it. Like if you look at like in Scream 5, she's like, I'm like Sidney Prescott, of course I have a gun. And then like the first trailer they released of Scream was the Ghostface like shooting that, like trying to shoot people in the convenience store. And he just like pointed out a lot of like little things that made it look like that's what they were like leading to, was that Sidney was going to be the Ghostface. And like if they had done that, I would have like shit my pants.
Chills. That would have
been wild.
Awesome.
But I think
especially if they were
something like that.
I don't like to know it beforehand, though. It makes it less cool.
Well, so I think they are still planning something, not with Neve Campbell. I don't know if she'll ever come back. I like would love for her to, but I feel like she's been jaded by the production staff of this movie. But I read there's been a lot of like theories, and they even supported the theory in this movie. I remembered the lines that Stu is alive. Remember Stu, yeah. Matthew Lillard?
Yeah.
And even Matthew Lillard has said in several interviews that he's like a Stu truther. Like he's always been like, maybe Stu is alive. Like maybe they'll bring him back one day.
Yeah.
And everyone's always like, no, that he obviously died. Like that can't happen. And then in this movie, there were multiple suggestions that he might still be alive. Like they talk about him in the kill room or in the lair, and they're like Stu's dead, if you believe that. And then on the detective's investigative board, next to his picture was a question mark.
Oh.
So I really think for Scream 7, they're going to bring him back.
They should bring him back. That would be cool. That would be
I think that's kind of, they figured out that that's kind of working for them, like bringing back old characters who like may or not be dead.
Well, because the people that really are diehard fans are the ones that have been like committed since the original, and they like, that's what this franchise is all about. Like honestly, it all goes back to the first Scream. It has nothing to do with Scream 4, Scream, 5, even 6. It's like people go back to watch their favorite original characters, and I think now that we don't have Dewey and we don't have Gale, I think it was cool that they brought Kirby back, because I didn't even realize that Hayden Panettiere was in this movie, and we didn't have Sidney Prescott's character in this movie either. So I think I don't know. I just think that that's such an important piece.
We wish her well. We wish them well.
We wish her well. She's got to put her family first. Like it was very dismissive, but I think that that's why like really like passionate fans of the franchise come back time and time again, because we want to see our favorite characters in the next one, and they keep killing them off. So I would support Stu coming back.
I don't love that the New York setting wasn't really like super like obvious, if that makes sense. Like it was another one of those movies where like clearly they didn't actually shoot it in New York. Like I looked it up, it was shot in, I'm pretty sure, Canada. But I'm like, why do we keep doing that where it's like, well, because it's cheaper, like because of taxes and whatever. But like I'm like, if we're gonna have a movie set in New York, we need to have at least one scene of like someone running through some iconic New York place.
They were in Central Park.
But like, was that, are we even sure that was Central Park?
I know one shot was, for sure.
It just looked like a generic city park to me, but maybe I wasn't looking at it close enough. But like,
it looked very familiar to me.
Well, our New York expert, never mind. I won't question.
Trust
me.
Trust me. There was one scene where I was like, oh, I know where that's at.
That's New York. And I can't decide if like the meta thing is like still fun or if it's like getting annoying, you know? Where they're
Mm.
like, who cares about movies and like fuck this franchise and stuff, but like I don't know how I feel about the continued use of that, you know?
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's done what, 3 times now already, four
I
times,
mean, they
right?
technically have been doing it the whole
Since the
time
second
since
one.
the first one, since the second one,
Yeah,
basically.
true.
But like they just keep doing it more and more. Apparently, we also missed a mid-credit scene. Apparently,
Oh,
but I looked up what happened, and it was only Mindy like pretending. It was like her talking to the camera and being like, "Oh, we're like these are the rules of like the next like." There's another person after us, or another ghost face after us, and these are the rules, blah blah blah. And then she like looks at the camera and she's like, "Really? You thought we'd have a mid-credit scene?" kind of thing, and like that's how
like
it
they
ends.
did.
Like it was like them being further meta. Like, but I kept thinking like the next thing that's gonna happen is they're gonna look at the camera and say something, and like if that happens, I'm gonna like be very annoyed and like walk out. And apparently
And then
they
she
did
did.
do it in the mid credit scene. So yeah, I don't
I
know. I don't
really
know how I feel
liked
about
I
it.
really liked her character though.
I did too. She's funny. I just do wish like after she got stabbed and was like on the like train station floor like bickering like at that point I knew like oh she's like fine, she's gonna be fine even though she just got like very stabbed because she's immediately resorting to comedy. I was like yeah, she's okay.
Yeah.
Chad was a twist, like truly I was like he's very dead, we're never gonna see him again, and then they were like just kidding, he's alive, and I'm like
The fact that the daughter ended up being one of the murderers was the biggest twist for me.
mm-hmm. I thought that was a well like a well executed plot twist.
Mm-hmm.
I think I expected the detective, but I didn't expect her. And I think
Yeah.
it wanted us to expect the nerdy guy the whole time, but that
Yeah.
was the twist
That's
that
why
it
I
actually
didn't. Yeah.
was him. Yeah. So I think it was well executed in some ways, but in others it was just like
Eh,
I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know. My thoughts are
I'm
kind of
torn.
all
I'm
over the
torn.
place about it, but
Yeah,
I'm
no, I would
torn.
say I would say definitely check it out. Definitely go watch it, even if you wait till it's out for streaming. Definitely give it a watch. It's a fun watch. I wouldn't say like it's life changing. But if you're like, I want to watch
No.
something like lighthearted, fun, maybe a little bloody, like just something
Yeah.
chill, I would say
Lighthearted,
that's a
fun,
great
and
one.
bloody.
7 out of 10. I give it a 7 out of 10. It exceeded my expectations, whereas I feel like in our last episode, Cocaine Bear, it kind of met my expectations a little bit. So like I feel like I went in with my expectations pretty low. So maybe that's
I
part
think
of
I
it.
liked Cocaine Bear better than Scream 6, but that's just me.
I like them about the
That's just
same.
me. Yeah, I don't know.
And that's all I ever
I'm trying
want
to
you to
think of
be.
what else.
It's just you.
I don't know. Courtney Cox was fun. She was fun in this. Hayden Panettiere was fun. I don't know that they either of them like did much for the movie. I did love how I saw a lot of memes about this too. How Courtney Cox's like boyfriend, fiance, whoever he was, he never got a name, gets
Yeah.
killed, and she basically is like, "Aw."
I don't think oh wait, he did have a line.
Mm-hmm.
Like one
He
line.
was like,
Like that's
"Baby, I'm
really
like food's here or something."
yeah.
But he gets killed, and the killer's like, "Your boyfriend's dead" or something, or "Your boyfriend's muscles didn't help him," and she's like,
She's like, no, they
"Oh yeah, no, it
shouldn't.
didn't." Like no other emotions about
She
it.
didn't give a shit. She does not care. Her true love was Dewey.
And
Now
then she
he's
was like,
gone.
Tell Sydney he didn't get me, and I was like, but he kind of did though. He kind of did get you a little bit.
But lie about it. Lie about it.
Kind of did get you. But yeah, I'm just glad she didn't bring back the bangs from. I mean, I obviously she wasn't gonna do that, but like, who knows? You never know what'll happen.
True.
If those bangs ever come back in style, we should just end it all at that point.
I mean, I'd say why not now, you know?
Why not now?
Why not now? I was also gonna say I think the main girl,
Melissa Barrera, Sam.
yeah, Sam, yep. I think her acting
She got better.
improved. It was an improvement on the acting. The first one, I was like, I can't watch this. That's how I felt about her in not West Side Story. Hello, In the Heights.
In the Heights.
In
Modern
the Heights.
West Side Story.
Yes, Modern West Side Story. I was like, this girl's not it. But like, I feel like she really worked. She really worked on her art and her craft, and I could tell.
Yeah, she took some classes.
Yeah, she's taken some classes. She's putting in the work. So I think that's another reason why I think the movie was much more enjoyable. Because I knew she was going to be in it, and I'm like, ugh, like it really took me out of it in the last one, just because I don't think she's a good actress. But she did much better, and so I felt like I was really able to like not be distracted by that this time.
I think what it took for her is leaning into like the dark aspects of her character, and then I think she did better. Like she handles that better apparently. Like I think her playing innocent was hard for her for some reason. I will say though, overall, like the like friendship and camaraderie of like the core four was like really good. Like I think they all had really good chemistry with each other. I think all four of them were good actors. Obviously, Jenna Ortega is always a good actress, but and Jasmine Savoy Brown, who played Mindy, is like in everything. She's like killing.
I know. I'm so excited for Yellow Jackets this month.
Me too.
It's gonna be intense. They got Christina Ricci.
Mm-hmm. Can we also talk about in this movie how hot Sam's across the way boyfriend was?
You thought he was hot?
So hot. What's wrong with you?
I thought the guy, what was Jenna Ortega's boyfriend's name?
Oh, Chad?
Chad. I thought Chad was hotter than Neighbor Boy.
I think Chad is hot, but I think that freaking Josh Segarra, that's his name, played Danny. He hot. He real hot.
He looks like... I feel like he looks like someone I know.
He was in something. Oh, he was in Trainwreck. I don't remember him.
Is that with Sandra Bullock?
No, Trainwreck is with Amy Schumer. Close.
Oh. She was in something called something wreck, train something.
Train something wreck?
I don't remember him. I'm assuming he played a bad guy.
I guess so, like one of the fuck boys that she goes on a date with or something.
I'm glad he ended up not being a killer, though.
Me too. He was too hot to be a killer.
I guess because he just looks like a bad boy. I'm like, red flags.
Oh, it was also the longest film in the franchise at 2 hours and 3 minutes.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, we can make them shorter. They don't have to be long. That's okay.
Yeah.
Kill more people in less time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Well, that's my life. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You want to take another shot?
Sure.
One more.
Let's take a shot and then let's go into our part 2 episode.
For those of you who have been loyal listeners and like listening to our podcast and then also to our bonus episodes where we do some trivia, we're going to kind of expand those into more of like a part 2. So we do trivia. For this episode, it'll be some trivia and other fun things that you'll have to wait and see in our episode 4.
Yeah.
But in the future, we'll probably start expanding it to some other things just to, give you all more content, more excitement to come
we love the content. We love the variety.
We're saving the funnest shit for the part 2 episode, so you have to come back.
Yes. Leave them wanting more. Leave them wanting more.
If you like this episode, you should follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Silent Screaming Podcast.
Yep.
You should also rate, review, and subscribe us on any podcast platform that you prefer to listen to us on. Also, make sure to check us out on Spotify, where you can watch us have these conversations, so you get to see our beautiful faces. What else? If you want to send us episode ideas, comments, questions, concerns, all that stuff, you can send it to silentscreamingpodcast@gmail.com.
Please
do. You can sign us off, Jordan. I'll let you do that.
Okay, everybody, go listen to part 2 when it comes out. Have a wonderful, scary evening. Don't drink in podcast.